September 14th, 2023 meeting of the Tennessee State University Board of Trustees is now called to order. Before we get started, I first want to welcome our new student trustee, elected again, Mr. Sean Wimberly. Thank you so much, and we appreciate your comments and guidance that you provide to us. As you know, at our last board meeting, the board reappointed Mr. Wimberly to serve a one-year term as a student trustee. He's done an excellent job. Mr. Wimberly did an amazing job during his first term, where he provided an invaluable student perspective to the board matters, and he continues to do that even as recent as today. The board appreciates his continued service on the board during his senior year at Tennessee State University. Introductions, the cabinet members, would you please stand? Okay, we don't have to introduce them by name, do we? Okay. I will bring to your attention our newly appointed new member, General Evans, our Chief Operating Officer, new member to the cabinet. As you will note in your board materials for today's board meeting, we have several items on the agenda today. I'm sorry. Before I go to the agenda, though, let me ask Dean Stevenson to come and to give us an invocation, please.
Can we bow? God, we thank you for this moment. We thank you for these trustees who are giving up their time and resources to make Tennessee State University an amazing institution. We thank you for the faculty, staff, alumni, and students, Lord. We pray that you bless this meeting, God, with your presence and with your wisdom imparted into these leaders. In your name we pray. Amen.
Thank you so much. At this time, we need to call the roll and declare a quorum. Secretary Pendleton, please call the roll.
Chair Cole.
Present.
Trustee Kerbill.
Present.
Trustee Andre Johnson. Trustee Bill Johnson.
Present.
Trustee Lewis.
Present.
Trustee Martin.
Present.
Trustee McKenzie.
Present.
Trustee Pinnock.
Present.
Trustee Walker.
Present.
Trustee Wimberly.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Board members, if you cannot hear or speak to the other board members, please state so now. For each board member participating electronically, please identify any individuals who are present in the location for which you are participating. The first action item on the agenda is the approval of the consent agenda items, the minutes of the June 15, 2023 board meeting, audit committee meeting, finance and budget committee meeting, academic affairs and student affairs committee meeting, and the executive committee meeting, the May 9, 2023 housing committee meeting. You have in your September 14, 2023 board materials the minutes for each of these meetings. Is there a motion to approve the consent items?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, the question is on the motion to approve the consent agenda items as contained in the board materials for the September 14th, 2023 board meeting. Secretary Pendleton, please call the roll.
Chair Cole.
Yes.
Trustee Kerbill.
Aye.
Trustee Andre Johnson. Trustee Bill Johnson.
Aye.
Trustee Lewis. Trustee Martin.
Aye.
Trustee McKenzie.
Aye.
Trustee Pinnock.
Aye.
Trustee Walker.
Aye.
The motion is approved. The next action item on the agenda is the approval of the 2024 TSU Board of Trustees meeting calendar. You have in your September 14, 2023 board materials the 2024 meeting calendar dates. I move to approve the 2024 TSU Board of Trustees meeting calendar dates as reflected and contained in the board material for the September 14, 2023 board meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, the question is on the motion to approve the 2024 TSU Board of Trustees meeting calendar dates as reflected and contained in the information of the material for the September 14th, 2023 board meeting. Secretary Pendleton, please call the roll.
Chair Cole,
Yes.
Trustee Corbill,
Aye.
Trustee Andre Johnson, Trustee Bill
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Trustee Lewis,
Aye.
Trustee Martin,
Aye.
Trustee McKenzie,
Aye.
Trustee Pinnick,
Aye.
Trustee Walker.
Aye.
The motion is approved. The next action item on the agenda is the approval of a revision to the Board of Trustees bylaws. You have in your September 14, 2023 board materials the proposed revision. In accordance with the board bylaws, section 8.2, the board is authorized to modify the board's bylaws by amendment, including when state laws affecting the term and provisions of the bylaws are enacted. The Tennessee Open Meetings Act grants the public the right to attend and observe public meetings. Section 7.7F of the board's bylaws sets forth notice and agenda-related requirements and the process for requests for the public to appear before all board meetings. The proposed revision to the bylaws provides further clarification on the postings of meeting agendas and the appearance public comment process in accordance with a recently enacted state law. I move to amend the bylaws of the Board of Trustees of Tennessee State University as reflected in Article 7.7A and F and contained in the board materials for the September 14th, 2023 board meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, the question is on the motion to amend the bylaws of the Board of Trustees of Tennessee State University as reflected in Articles 7.7 A and F and reflected and contained in the board materials for the September 14, 2023 board meeting. Secretary Pendleton, please call the roll.
Chair Cole,
Aye.
Trustee Corbill,
Aye.
Trustee Andre Johnson,
Aye.
Trustee Bill Johnson,
Aye.
Trustee Lewis,
Aye.
Trustee Martin,
Aye.
Trustee McKenzie,
Aye.
Trustee Pinnick,
Aye.
Trustee Walker.
The motion is approved. The next item on the agenda is the Audit Committee report. As the Audit Committee Chair, I'm going to ask, well, I don't know if you have that. Okay, as the Audit Committee Chair, I will report the actions and other items from today's Audit Committee meeting. The Audit Committee met today to act on two items, receive reports on two items, and go into executive session to discuss matters deemed confidential under state law. The Audit Committee voted to recommend to the full board the approval of the June 15, 2023 Audit Committee meeting minutes, which were approved with the consent agenda items. In addition, the Audit Committee reviewed and discussed completed internal audits and outstanding audit issues. New Internal Audit Director, Ms. Renee Forbes Williams, reviewed the audit plan approved by the board at the June 15, 2023 board meeting, and based on her review, presented a modified audit plan for the board's approval. The Audit Committee voted to approve the modified fiscal year 2023-2024 audit plan as contained in the board materials for the board's September 14, 2023 meeting. The next item on the agenda is the approval of the modified fiscal year 2023-2024 audit plan as approved by the Audit Committee and contained in the board materials for the board September 14, 2023 meeting. Is there a motion to approve the modified fiscal year 2023-24 audit plan?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, the question is on the motion to approve modified fiscal year 2023-2024 audit plan as approved by the Audit Committee and contained in the board materials for the September 14, 2023 meeting. Secretary Pendleton, please call the roll.
Chair Cole,
Yes.
Trustee Corbill,
Aye.
Trustee Andre Johnson,
Aye.
Trustee Bill Johnson,
Aye.
Trustee Lewis,
Aye.
Trustee Martin.
Aye.
Trustee McKenzie.
Aye.
Trustee Pinnick.
Aye.
Trustee Walker.
Aye.
Nine ayes.
The motion is approved. I would like to ask our new Director of Internal Audit to stand. Thank you, Ms. Forbes Williams, for the work that you've done. Dr. Forbes Williams, I'm sorry, excuse me, for the work that you've done. You hit the ground running, and we appreciate it. Thank you so much for being a part of the TSU team. The next item on the agenda is the Finance and Budget Committee report. The chair recognizes the Finance and Budget Committee Chair, Trustee Lewis, who will report the action and information items from today's Finance and Budget Committee meeting.
Thank you, Chair Cole. The Finance and Budget Committee met today to act on one item and receive reports on 8 items. The Finance and Budget Committee voted to recommend to the full board the approval of June 15, 2023 Finance and Budget Committee meeting minutes, which were approved with the consent agenda items. Additionally, President Glover and her team provided reports on the university budget update, construction and facilities update, master plan update, the finance and budget report, a report on enrollment and scholarships, a personnel update, a customer service report, and a report by the Board Special Housing Committee. This concludes the Finance and Budget Committee report.
Thank you, Trustee Lewis, for your and the other committee members' work on the Finance and Budget Committee. As I say, each board meeting, all the work is done in the committee levels. There's a tremendous amount of work, and we appreciate what is done. When we come here and summarize it, in no way represents the amount of effort that has been put into getting it to that point. The next item on the agenda is the Academic Affairs and Student Affairs Committee report. The chair recognizes Academic Affairs and Student Affairs Committee Chair Trustee Martin to report on the action items and other items from today's Academic Affairs and Student Affairs Committee meeting.
Thank you, Chair Cole. The Academic Affairs and Student Affairs Committee met today to consider and vote on 2 agenda items and to receive reports on 4 other agenda items. Information regarding these items are in your materials for the September 14th, 2023 board meeting. The Academic Affairs and Student Affairs Committee voted to recommend to the full board the approval of the June 15, 2023 Academic Affairs and Student Affairs Committee meeting minutes, which were approved with the consent agenda items. It further approved an academic program modification related to the restructuring of the College of Agricultural Science. The Academic Affairs and Student Affairs Committee also received reports on SACS and other accreditation matters, academic affairs, research and sponsored programs, and on student affairs and housing. As I previously stated, the Academic Affairs and Student Affairs Committee voted to recommend to the full board an academic program modification within the College of Agriculture to accommodate new departments. Information regarding this agenda item is in your September 14, 2023 board materials. On behalf of the Academic Affairs and Student Affairs Committee, I move to approve an academic program modification within the College of Agriculture as contained in the board materials for the September 14, 2023 board meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, the question is on the motion to approve an academic program modification within the College of Agriculture as contained in the board materials for the September 14th, 2023 meeting. Secretary Pendleton, please call the roll.
Chair Cole.
Aye.
Trustee Corbill.
Aye.
Trustee Andre Johnson.
Aye.
Trustee Bill Johnson.
Aye.
Trustee Lewis.
Aye.
Trustee Martin.
Aye.
Trustee McKenzie.
Aye.
Trustee Pinnick.
Aye.
Trustee Walker.
Aye.
9 ayes.
The motion is approved.
Chair Cole, that concludes the Academic Affairs and Student Affairs Committee report.
Thank you so much, Trustee Martin, for all the work that your committee does in the area of academic and student affairs. The next item on the agenda is the Executive Committee report. As the chair of the board and chair of the Executive Committee, I will report the action and information items from today's Executive Committee meeting. The Executive Committee met today to discuss and vote on 4 action items and hear reports on 3 items. The Executive Committee voted to recommend to the full board the approval of the June 15, 2023 Executive Committee meeting minutes, which were approved with the consent agenda items. The Executive Committee also voted to approve a modification to the President's annual performance review for fiscal year 2023, voted to approve delegation of authority to the board chair to execute a presidential transition agreement with President Glover, and voted to grant specified authority to the Executive Committee and the chair related to the presidential search process. The Executive Committee also heard a report on board resolution items, the board informational education system with the Association of Governing Boards, Universities, and Colleges, and a report from Secretary Pendleton. The next item on the agenda is the approval of a modification to the President's annual performance review process. As approved by the Executive Committee, the information regarding this item is included in your September 14, 2023 board materials. On behalf of the Executive Committee, I move to approve a modification to the President's annual performance review process as contained in the board materials for the September 14, 2023 board meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, the question is on the motion to approve modification to the President's annual performance review process as contained in board materials for the September 14, 2023 meeting. Secretary Pendleton, please call the roll.
Chair Cole.
Aye.
Trustee Corbill.
Aye.
Trustee Andre Johnson.
Aye.
Trustee Bill Johnson.
Aye.
Trustee Lewis.
Aye.
Trustee Martin.
Aye.
Trustee McKenzie.
Aye.
Trustee Pinnock.
Aye.
Trustee Walker.
Aye.
9
Okay,
ayes.
the motion is approved. The next item on the agenda is the approval of a delegation of authority to the board chair to execute a presidential transition agreement. Information regarding the item is included in your September 14, 2023 board materials. On behalf of the Executive Committee, I move to approve a delegation of authority to the board chair to execute a presidential transition agreement. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, the question is on the motion to approve a delegation of authority to the board chair to execute a presidential transition agreement as contained in the board materials for the September 14, 2023 meeting. Secretary Pendleton, please call the roll.
Chair Cole.
Aye.
Trustee Corbill.
Aye.
Trustee Andre Johnson.
Aye.
Trustee Bill Johnson.
Aye.
Trustee Lewis.
Aye.
Trustee Martin.
Aye.
Trustee McKenzie.
Aye.
Trustee Pinnock.
Aye.
Trustee Walker.
Aye.
9 ayes.
The motion is approved. The next item on the agenda is approval of a grant of authority related to the presidential search process as approved by the Executive Committee. Information regarding this item is included in your September 14, 2023 board materials. Pursuant to state law, the board is charged with the authority to develop a search process in connection with the retaining of the new president of Tennessee State University. These items are contained in the board materials for the board's September 14, 2023 meeting. Please note that anyone selected as a finalist for the presidential position must undergo interviews with the campus community prior to being selected as president. In addition, the appointment of an individual to serve as president of Tennessee State University will be presented to and subject to the vote of the entire board. On behalf of the Executive Committee, I move to approve the granting of the specified authority related to the presidential search. The Executive Committee plus Trustee Corbell will serve as members of the Presidential Search Committee. The board chair will appoint additional members to serve on the search committee at a later date. That committee will be comprised of faculty, staff, students, alumni, and other members of the community. The board chair, in consultation with the executive committee, will engage a search firm to assist the search committee and the board in the presidential search. The search committee will develop a timeline for the search process at its first meeting. The board's executive committee shall be authorized, the board's executive committee plus trustee Corbell shall be authorized to develop a statement of qualifications for the presidential position. In consultation with the search committee and the retained search firm, with said statement to be provided to members of the full board for review prior to finalization, and the search information addressed here shall be posted to the board's website upon the establishment of the search committee and updated accordingly. Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, the question is on the motion to approve granting of authority related to the presidential search process as described and contained in the board materials for the board's September 14, 2023 meeting. Secretary Pendleton, please call the roll.
Chair Cole,
Aye.
Trustee Corbell,
Aye.
Trustee Andre Johnson,
Aye.
Trustee Bill Johnson.
Aye.
Trustee Lewis,
Aye.
Trustee Martin,
Aye.
Trustee McKenzie,
Aye.
Trustee Pinnick,
Aye.
Trustee Walker.
Aye.
None ayes.
The motion is approved. This concludes the executive committee report. The next item on the agenda is a report on TSU and the UT Land Grant Agriculture and Research Collaborations. The chair recognizes President Glover, who will provide information regarding this agenda item.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to ask if Dr. Reddy will present this information to us.
Good afternoon, board members, President Glover, and all the cabinet members. I'm going to make some brief comments on our collaboration and partnership between UT and Tennessee State University. Just to start to the setting for the Land Grant University, we all know the Land Grant University is an institution like TSU, and which is very unique in the university system in the country. Okay, thank you. And we have, these universities were established in 1862, 1890, and 1994. We have a total of about 94 institutions in the country. We're one of those, 74 institutions. We're one of the 74. And within the, okay, let's talk about the purpose of the Land Grant University is somewhat different from other universities. Is one of our main role is to serve the public directly with translating the science that the research we do on the campus. The main benefits for individuals, families, and entire communities, which include as in-person and online education, free trips, topics, and then free in-person and virtual events, and readily available practical research on a variety of topics. So we do a lot of those things that are directly beneficial to the individuals and communities in a given state. In the state of Tennessee, we have two land grant institutions. That is the University of Tennessee, obviously, and Tennessee State University. And land grant system is very important for this state because there is 84% of the Tennessee land is occupied by agriculture and forestry lands. So that tells you everything we need to know. The state of Tennessee is very much an agrarian or agricultural state. And even if we look at the seal of the Tennessee state, that includes the agriculture on the seal of the state. So obviously the state of Tennessee, this is very important, and the two land grant universities, because we have the common goal, we have the common funding from both federal government and the state government. We are trying to collaborate and partnership on a variety of items that is both on the research side, extension, and academic side. And I'm going to briefly comment on each of these areas. We have been having what I call a much more mature relationship in the area what is called extension program. Extension meaning the outreach. And to give you the history, in 2008, we had about 12 counties where TSU had its employees out of the 95 counties serving the public. Today, we got our employees in 60 of the 95 counties, and we are the largest system serving in the counties among the HBCUs in the country. And how did we get here? And that's what I want to spend a minute and talk about. Historically, you go back to the 100 years or so, University of Tennessee has worked out this space, and they have relationships with the county governments. And so we're the newcomer, and we don't have the infrastructure. We don't have a lot of the details. So we had to work with the University of Tennessee and the county governments in all of these different counties. And now we slowly get to a couple of points where the county governments put part of the money to support our employees. To give you a good example is the Rutherford County, where they put 55% of our cost for our employees' salaries and these services are funded by the Rutherford County government. And the space is provided by that county. And that's the space that UT had in the past. So now we're sharing that space. In fact, in that particular county, TSU employee supervises UT employees. So the relationship has gone to a level where it is seamless in terms of the programming, in terms of the managing the personnel. This is very unique again. This is the only state where you have that level of partnership and collaboration on extension. But there are a couple of other things we all need to know. What we do in these counties, whenever in the 60 counties where TSU has employees, all of the communications get changed. The letterhead we communicate, or the signage on the walls, or the telephone calls, and a public calls these counties, the calls will go as UT-TSU extension system. So we're getting our name out there in these counties. And so we hope that we are building our brand in the rural areas of the Tennessee, and that slowly would increase our student enrollment and the branding, and more importantly, our legislative support. Because a lot of the legislators in Tennessee are connected to these communities. When we go and serve, TSU name out there, so that gives some positive perception about our contributions to these communities. So we are also required to provide to the federal government a joint report. That's a federal law that the states that receive the federal dollars on the land grant side do provide joint reports. So we do all of our research and extension reports are provided jointly between the two universities. Let me talk about a minute on research collaboration. We all know that TSU's current status as a Carnegie classification R2, and we're trying to get to R1. We have recently celebrated $100 million grant milestone. And between this morning and now, before I came to the meeting, Dr. Glover, we were informed we got another $5 million. And then we're also part of a multi-institutional grant that is for a $35 million grant. So we're just rich enough. And so this land grant system is working for us. Those new grants I just talked about came from the U.S. Forest Service. And so within the university, when we talk about the research side, and Dr. Quincy Quick has reported that we have $100 million grant funding, and $48 million of that comes from the College of Agriculture, which is the land grant side of it. And 83% of universities submitted grant proposals, according to Dr. Quick's report, come from the College of Agriculture. So that's the strength that the land grant system brings to the entire university. But where I'm going with all of this is to tell you the NEFA, that the USDA, their budget is only $2 billion. But you look at the National Science Foundation, they have about $10 billion budget. You look at the NIH, they have $50 billion budget. I'm rounding the numbers. And if we are going to go from here where we are with $100 million grant funding to $100 million expenditures where we need to get to at some point on an annual basis, we got to be getting work with these other funding agencies like NSF and NIH and maybe Oak Ridge National Laboratory in Knoxville. To do all of that, we got to be partnering with the major universities like University of Tennessee and Vanderbilt University, and we are doing that already. We have multiple research projects. We work with University of Tennessee at this point. We have an ongoing 15 research projects, of which 7 of them are led by TSU employees, and 8 of them are led by University of Tennessee employees. We also have relationships with the Vanderbilt University. So my point of, again, concluding all of that, this is a budding relationship on the research side with the University of Tennessee. They have a number of facilities we don't have. That is, we were there, a bunch of faculty members on their campus recently. If you look at their centers of excellence, their genomics center, they have lots of capacity that we can use. And for agriculture particularly, they have a statewide network of research stations. This morning I shared with you that we have 80 faculty positions in agriculture right now, and we don't have the capacity once we leave the main campus, where agriculture is localized, where you have to work within a local environments. Our research stations are on the main campus and in McMinnville and in Ashland City. We don't have a statewide network of facilities like University of Tennessee has. They have all over the state research stations established, 100 years ago or so. So if we're going to grow, we have to have that partnership where we can access those facilities, we can do our work on their facilities, because I don't see anytime in near future we get funded to duplicate the same facilities. So it is a question of partnering with the University of Tennessee. So there are things to work on into the future for us to grow, for us to be relevant and to be contributing significant manner to the state of Tennessee. We got to expand and partner with them. And I'll give you one more last item on this one before any questions to answer. Their College of Veterinary Medicine, the large number of students we get into agriculture here, they all want to be veterinary doctors. And unfortunately, most of them don't make it. A few of them do make it. At this point, on an annual basis, we're only placing about 2 to 4 students into the veterinary colleges. So we have established a relationship right now with the University of Tennessee Vet School, and where our students can be pre-admitted if they qualify into their program. So we have set up all of the guidelines, what our students need to do in terms of the curriculum. And so we have that streamlined, that process where our students can directly get admitted into their program once they qualify those requirements. And also our associate dean, Dr. Deatra Young, serves on their admissions committee. And again, that is an impressive accommodation on their part to get one of our employees to be on the admissions committee for the vet school. So these are all the ongoing relationships or partnerships between the two land grant institutions of the state. I'll close this one with the comment. Dr. Glover, has been providing considerable support to build this relationship. And fortunately for us, I do think I can publicly say their president, the current president, Randy Boyd, is very much interested in working with TSU and have a legitimate, equally, mutually respectable partnership with the TSU. So those are my comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Eddie, I want to thank you for all your tremendous work that you and your staff has completed for the university. We sincerely appreciate it. I want to make sure, though, I need to clarify one thing. Now, did I hear that there was a $100 million historical high for grants being received? Did I hear that correctly?
Yes, TSU just completed a $100 million research funding for the first time in our history.
And I think that Dr. Quick,
131,000.
you need to stand up. Thank you. Tremendous milestone. Thank you so much. Thank you all. Thank you. The next item on the agenda is a report on TSU's communication plan. The chair recognizes President Glover, who will provide information regarding this agenda item.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm going to call up Kelly Sharp, who's Associate Vice President for Communications and Public Relations.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Thank you, President Glover. In your board report, or from our last board meeting, you asked to give you a final communications plan for the university, and that was what was in your report. I will be brief in going over this report and touching some of the highlights. The new academic year brings with it excitement of new possibilities and the opportunity to tell the TSU story again. Tennessee State University has experienced a remarkable transformation in the recent years and semesters, and we've been ahead of the curve as the HBCU Renaissance has begun across the country several years ago. TSU was ahead of the curve because we began expanding our programs, and now we're experiencing record enrollment, and that's due to the leadership of this administration and our president. And with that comes the opportunity to tell our stories. And through the university's communications plan, our objectives are to communicate the accurate present state of TSU, align student, alumni, board members, and key stakeholders with exactly what's happening on the campus via the most relevant communication channels, leverage TSU leadership and student leaders to champion the messages of the university and to shape the narrative among the public. And finally, to reaffirm the standards of excellence that we have here at the university and to maintain the legacy that we have of this current administration. And we plan to do this through the strategies of employing communication tactics that are both used for external and internal communications with our audiences, and also to chart a communications map that was found in the back of the report that talks about how we plan to proceed throughout the year, starting in June and July, prepping for information to put out to the public, following that with stories about the beginning of school and student success through August and September, and October through December, ongoing updates and communications to our stakeholders, internal and external stakeholders, including homecoming and all the exciting activities that we have coming up. And in January and March, as we get ready for the legislative session, we'll be looking to communicate with our lawmakers and other stakeholders about what's happening here at Tennessee State University. And in closing, I'd like to talk about what Dean Reddy presented to you and what we do in media relations with that. When we get grants, we try to humanize it. And so when we pitch those stories to the media, while it may be academic and research wording, we try to break it down for the general public. So when we push these stories forward, we get media to come. And so I'm excited to let you know that Black Enterprise did do something on our $100 million research. We also got local media to come out when we had a celebration for the $100 million research that we had. So we're really excited about what we've been able to do and forming an even better working relationship with the media. They're calling us more. They're using our faculty members as subject matter experts. They want to know what's happening here at TSU, and they're covering our students. So we're really excited about that. And we're using the different avenue channels, newsletters, highlighting our students, and we're getting that input from faculty and staff as they send information to us to report what's happening here on campus. So we're going to continue to have a robust program where we push out information about the university, and as you've talked about in earlier moments throughout the day, just inundating not just our stakeholders, but everyone that's a part of the TSU family with all the good stuff that's happening here on campus. And that is my report.
Thank you. That's an excellent report, and I appreciate that's an excellent report, and I appreciate the commission communication plan, which you've done a fantastic job on. I do have a couple of questions, though. One, would you just make a brief comment about we have communication going out from the board and what form that is going out in, please?
Well, from your directive, we were able to, working with legal counsel's office, of putting together a summary of what happens here, and we're pushing that out to our alumni specifically who want to be updated on the information that we have. In addition to that report, we're putting together a TSU Connect or Connect with TSU that we will be sending out to stakeholders, with the first going out in the next week or so, calling our fall newsletter, where we will highlight activities from the board, policies and procedures that you've passed, activities, and then just highlighting what we have here at TSU. We've got a couple of students who've done some great things, and we'll be highlighting that through this newsletter, and everyone will be getting that in addition to what we already send out to the campus family.
Well, thank you so much. We've been asked for communication from the board by the community. I think you have fulfilled that request, and I sincerely appreciate that. My last question relates to the crisis committee. Is that a committee? Will you be doing that? Exactly how will that work in terms of crisis reporting?
Well, our crisis communications is twofold. The first layer of that is a meeting with the executive emergency team that will include the president, or does include the president, in the area that's impacted, along with emergency management and TSUPD. We meet, we find out what the problem is, we do the research, and once I get that information, I bring that back to my team. And because you have been so helpful in having us engage a PR firm as we continue to move forward and rejuvenate the TSU brand, we work with them as well. So what I do is bring the information back from the executive team members, we put it together, and we push it out. We push it out on several channels. We make sure first we push it out to the campus family. That may be channels from social media, via email. Then we reach out to the media and follow up with them on this crafted statement that we have that's been agreed upon from the executive team that we put together. So we have a twofold team. We have the executive team, the upper level management, where we address the issue and the area that's involved. And then from that, it comes to the communications team, and we push it out to the campus family and the media and other stakeholders.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. The next item on the agenda we get to is the report on athletics. The chair recognizes President Glover, who will provide information on this agenda item.
Thank you. As Athletic Director, Dr. Mickey Allen is going to make the presentation.
Thank you, President Glover. Good afternoon, members of the board. I'd like to start off giving a brief thank you to those that attended Notre Dame. I'd say the momentum around our brand and our athletic enterprise here is phenomenal. And I want to continue to ride the big blue wave, I call it. For those that were not in South Bend, Indiana, it was an opportunity for our athletics program and our university to really showcase what this historic HBCU is all about to the city of South Bend. They rolled out the red carpet, but aligning our brand with Notre Dame was a tremendous experience, but it was reciprocated. That community was very appreciative of how our young people conducted themselves, how we played, how our band performed, and it really enlightened that entire community about what Tennessee State is all about. And so that was phenomenal to see, and just to know we were on NBC, and 1.56 million viewers. We were in that many households. Is just a tremendous marketing opportunity for this institution. As we continue to go through the season, Coach George with our football program, he's building it for sustainability. We're getting the right recruits in our program that fit what the standard of Tennessee State athletics should be from our history and our lineage. And so we're proud about that, that we're getting the right athletes across all of our programs, not just football, but that's very important, that we don't just have talent in our programs, but we have kids that come here that want to perform academically and represent the university with institutional pride. So we're very pleased on where we are from a recruiting standpoint. I do want to mention a couple notable games for this season. We play in our historic John A. Merritt Classic this Saturday. We've put together a lot of events, and that game is very important. We want it to end up, I want to make sure it's a revenue generating event for our program, that is an event for the city of Nashville that really rivals the Music City Bowl. We definitely have called on a lot of talent. To come in from comedy shows to concerts. We just put a full ongoing effort into making it a festive event that really accentuates HBCU culture. So we'd love for you all to attend that game. Next year we'll be playing Mississippi Valley State on Labor Day weekend. It's important that we get back to playing HBCUs for that contest, so that's very important. So we'll play Mississippi Valley State next year for the John Merritt Classic, and then we've been calling on the schools, the HBCUs in the great state of Alabama, those two institutions there, to see if we can get games subsequently after 2024 with those opponents. We will be in Georgia this year. That's very important from a recruiting standpoint, not just athletic recruiting, but from our student body recruiting. Our institutional advancement office, they have events planned, as we'll play Kennesaw State October 7th. But the Thursday leading up to the game, there'll be events there. We have great alumni support in the city of Atlanta, so we're pleased that those efforts are ongoing to make sure we have the engagement necessary to support not only our athletic programs but our institution. And then homecoming, no one does it like us for homecoming, so we play Norfolk State for homecoming October 14th. Working together, we've been working with alumni relations and student affairs to make sure, again, that we have a high level of engagement with events and with our student body population. Athletics is a part of everyone's experience, and it's important to me that our students are engaged. So we're doing things on campus with student affairs, Courtyard Wednesdays. Our athletes are there present, engaging with our student body population. It's important that our coaches do the same, and so I've challenged our coaches and our athletic programs to do that and make sure that we extend ourselves so those students will attend our games. We led the league last year. It's a feather, I say, in our cap. We led the OVC conference in attendance for football and basketball. We want to keep that going. And then from an FCS standpoint, there's 130 FCS programs. We're in the top 20 in attendance, and so we want to continue that. Lastly, I do want to mention a couple of future developments. We've launched a hockey initiative with our partners, the Predators here in the city and the NHL. If you didn't see the NHL draft, millions and millions of viewers were tuned in. The game of hockey for many years has not been inclusive, and so Tennessee State has an opportunity through a club sport, not a sponsored NCAA sport. I do want to emphasize club, to start here and be a conduit and a bridge to diversifying the game of hockey. And so, we'll do that. And then last, with the Titans, we've been in discussions of having an on-campus facility, stadium, and so we're in discussions with them and leveraging their corporate partnerships. So that concludes my report.
Thank you, Dr. Allen. Let me just say that I did have the opportunity to attend the game at South Bend, which was very dear to me because I did receive training there, and it was awesome for us to go there for a historical event. Also to see the difference in how the campus had changed from when I was there a long time ago. But we had, just to mention, we had tremendous support from our alumni and our community traveling. I don't remember the numbers, but it was significant. The number of people that traveled to South Bend for that event. That was excellent. One other thing.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was going to follow up on that when you finish.
Okay, go on.
Okay, about South Bend, you touched on it. Oh, go ahead.
Okay,
I'm
all right.
sorry.
Okay. Also, but that was tremendous support, and I really did enjoy seeing that. But in addition to us going there to play a historical game, I think it also, and I want to ask whomever, the Dr. Glover, to make some comments on this. I saw and I know that the president of Notre Dame met with our president, and they discussed some information relative to research and academic programs. So, Dr. Glover, would you make some
Yes.
comment on that?
Thank you. I was about to talk about it. Thank you. Yes, the president invited, along with me, the Provost Melton, to meet with him, Assistant Vice President Lita Tony, to his office. So we talked about three things. We talked about some academic programming with Notre Dame and Tennessee State University. We talked about the R2 to R1 and forming a collaboration there to assist us. And we also talked about the diversity, and he was very interested in all three of those initiatives. And we talked about just after the Supreme Court decision, and just how HBCUs can partner with some of the larger institutions and assist as they go through diversity efforts. And the president agreed to come to Nashville. So he would love to come to Tennessee State. There was no date worked out, but just a thought of him come to Nashville and just work some more with us about this collaboration. So we're excited about that, the partnership between Tennessee State University and Notre Dame.
So, in addition to that being a historical game that we did, we also made some historical connections, as our president normally does, that will benefit Tennessee State University in the long term. And thank you, Dr. Glover, for that. The last thing, and I don't, Dr. McDonald is not here, but I also attended the game in Memphis. I thought that, for a difference in the change where we were playing, the attendance was good. But in addition to that, I was just blown away when the band spelled out a tribute to Dr. Glover on the field. I don't know if it's televised somewhere, we could get a clip to send out or not, but that was
Amazing.
awesome.
I happen to have it right here.
You just happen to have it. No.
Doesn't surprise.
Okay, well, you can play it during your presentation, okay?
I listened to it a couple of times today already.
Okay, but
Yeah.
Dr. Allen, I think the support that is coming to the school, to our athletic program, the new ventures that we are making,
Yes, ma'am.
is due to your leadership.
Thank you so
and to the support from, of course, the president. And we appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you, Trustee
Okay.
Cole.
The last thing before, a little out of agenda item, I would like to ask Mr. Winrow to come forward and please just give us some brief information on homecoming. No one does homecoming like Tennessee State University, so just give us a little brief update. Be ye always prepared.
So wait, I have to.
And you're right.
He was not on the agenda, so we haven't had time to just let him know anything about it. He happened to see you sitting out there and talk about homecoming.
Thank you.
Where is he?
Thank you, Chair Cole and all the other trustee board members. Good afternoon, as well as the cabinet and other people who are here this evening. Homecoming. Homecoming at Tennessee State University, as you just alluded to, Dr. Cole, is a celebrations amongst HBCUs as well as universities all around the country. There's nothing like Tennessee State University's homecoming. Homecoming, as you know it, is a time-honored tradition at TSU and for the city of Nashville. And if you are an elected official or even aspiring to be an elected official, you are participating in our legendary parade. And I'll get to that in just a second. But just because the president made this announcement. We want to make homecoming even more especially nice and grand this year that we've done in previous years. Every homecoming, we always try to step up the volume. I proudly serve as chair of the homecoming committee for the past 7 years, and I always charge the committee to say, hey, we have to keep stepping and raise the bar. We have to give the people what they want and give our Nashville community as well as our university stakeholders an opportunity to just come back and celebrate and just relive their yesteryear and be able to come back. But more importantly, we want to make sure that the students get an overall experience of homecoming. And because it's about them. If we don't have any students who are our main stakeholders, we don't have a university. And so we want to make sure that they get the proper experience throughout their matriculation. And so every year at homecoming, we like to start out with a great theme. And because of all of what we've been going through this year, we thought that it was appropriate for us to name homecoming. The theme is through resilience and perseverance, we are one. And so collectively, we are one. And so we want to make sure we spread that message and that we may have a few problems, but being as one in one university is not one of them. So, having said, as homecoming will start, as we play, as Dr. Allen, A.D. Allen just alluded to, we play another HBCU, and everyone loves when the university plays an HBCU for homecoming. So we are playing Norfolk State, and I know that I just want to take an opportunity to say thank you, Dr. Glover, for naming me homecoming chair and being able to be a part of this opportunity to lead our university for this endeavor. And one of the things that you have with your leadership, we want to make sure that Norfolk State's band is able to come down. You know, everyone is HBCUs. We don't have a whole lot of money, so we want to make sure that we give that same added experience to the weekend. So the weekend will begin October 8th through the 14th. And we kick off with an academic event, which is the Robert N. Murrow Oratorical Contest. We have also student events that are going to be taking place, from talent shows to TSU, Mr. and Miss TSU coronation, which will be on Wednesday in Keene Hall. We will also kick off Alumni Weekend with the President's Society Luncheon. And that's a very important event because it just allows all of our stakeholders who have given $1,000 or more and much more money to the university an opportunity to come and fellowship amongst each other and find out what the updates of the university, what we're doing. In addition to that, as I said, Alumni Weekend will kick off with the third annual, or back to the Blackout Party, which is going to be at the Wild Horse Saloon. It's the most popular party that has now turned out to be where we've sold over 2,000 tickets and tables. There's nothing left, but we always tell the homecoming committee, I always tell people, hold back just a few tickets, just in case we have to make a few corrections and do a little bit of public relations. And so that is going to take place on Thursday night, but after the Wild Horse Saloon. Thursday is important because we're going to be bringing a couple of new events to homecoming. Because traditionally we would have the we'll start out with the President's Society Luncheon, but we'll transition over to one of the most important events that takes place during homecoming, and that is the Dr. Levi Watkins Lecture Series and White Coat Ceremony. This is the third cohort, and this is a tremendous opportunity to showcase our best of our brightest, of our students who are matriculating in the 3-year program to be able to go to, from leaving Tennessee State in this rigorous program and going and being accepted to Meharry Medical College or whatever institution that they have been accepted to. So that's going to also take place on Thursday. But another event is going to take place, which is the Mr. and Miss TSU reception that's traditionally been at the president's home. It's now going to be a big collaborative effort of presenting the top 4. The past student leaders of Mr. and Miss TSU and the SGA president and vice presidents are invited to fellowship, and that's going to also take place. And then we're going to have on Friday is the Breakfast of Champions, and some of our honorees this year for the Breakfast of Champions is going to be Dr. Harvey Bowles, Miss Valencia Jordan. We have one of our recent Pro Hall of Famers, Jim Marcellus, is going to be inducted. And so we're also going to recognize, it's the Breakfast of Champions. Last year's the ladies volleyball team, well, the volleyball team, they won the OVC. So we want to recognize them as well, and the Coach Sutton, to be able to be recognized. After which we will kick off, but most most importantly about homecoming, we're going to have the traditional Charles Campbell fish fry. We would have, and that's going to be back on the president's lawn. We're also going to have, we're trying to work out some other events that's going to take place on campus this year. But I want to just talk briefly and lastly about our homecoming honorees this year. This is a very, very important year for all of us. And the president and I sat down after we take recommendations throughout the year. And so we kind of discussed how we were going to make sure that everyone is being lauded. We run out of years. We don't have enough years to be able to celebrate everyone. So our homecoming grand marshals this year are going to be former State Senator Brenda Gilmore, Dr. Turner Nash, and our very own Rosetta Perry. Miss Rosetta Perry, and all of them are very excited. Our homecoming honorees are usually our retirees. They're going to be they are Mr. Sammy Comer, Dr. Gloria Johnson, and Dr. John Cade. So after that, we thought that this is an even extraordinary year for the president and everyone, and we decided we needed to have 4 presidential honorees. Those 4 presidential honorees are as follows: Mr. Homer Wheaton, Dr. Zenona Clayton, Ambassador Bobby Jones, and someone is in the room is going to be lauded this year, and that is our very own Mrs. Barbara Murrell. So I think she's still here. So Mrs. Barbara Murrell is one of our presidential honorees. So, and that deserves a hand clap. She's been a part of this university fabric for a lot of years. So I'm going to leave it at that. So lastly, of course, it's the football game, and we have our legendary parade. Please come out and support. We've asked, we already have accumulated over 100 entries for the parade. And so we just want to make it especially great. We have 14 bands. We even have a band from California that is coming all the way to Nashville to participate in our parade. So after the game, we will have our Essence of Big Blue, which is our victory party, out at the Host Hotel. And I don't think I missed anything, but I'm going off the top of my head. So thank you very much for this opportunity to share.
Madam Chair, I just have one thing. I appreciate that reporting coming from my brother. And you know I support homecoming. But as an old school graduate, I hope one day you all will reconsider having homecoming on Thanksgiving. That's when we had a ball here at TSU. Thanksgiving. Thank you.
And just a point of reference, Brother Lewis, the last homecoming that was on Thanksgiving, I looked it up. I was 6 years old. It was 1971. It was 1971. I was 5. So that tells you how long ago that was to have a Thanksgiving homecoming. And it was pretty cold in November, if I remember it well.
Well, at 79, I can't tell you how old I was then. I just remember homecoming on Thanksgiving at TSU.
Right. Right. Great.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Winrow. And also, I think we probably need to look for an opportunity for the board to have some presence right behind the president in the parade. But first, very quickly, Miss Barbara Murrell, Dean Murrell, please stand. This is going to be our honoree. This is a fantastic lady that we will be honoring. And also, she does the Levi Watkins Institute. And I want to ask you, I know we didn't talk about this, but please, at the next meeting, would you make a presentation on the Levi Watkins Institute? I just love seeing those students in those white coats at Meharry. So please, if you would do that for me. Thank you. Okay. Mr. Winrow, I had no doubt that you wouldn't do a good job because I know you live and breathe TSU Parade. So great job. Thank you so much. The next item on the agenda is the president's report, but I want to take a point of preference for the chair. And we heard on a report from Dr. Mickey Allen. But I also just want to make you aware that we have another Dr. Allen in the house, and that is Dr. Doug Allen, who now has a PhD in business administration with a specialization in advanced accounting. I'm impressed. Stand up, Dr. Allen. Okay. The next item on the agenda is President's report. The chair recognizes President Glover, but before she gives her report, what I would like to ask for us to do is I'd like, as part of her report, I just want to put this up front. I committed to, at every board meeting, making an update on the resolution. I'm going to ask General Evans to come to the podium and to go through. We do it in detail. I know it does take a little time, but it's very important because those that are watching need to know what we are doing with that commitment that I signed my name down to downtown, that we were going to do. General Evans, excuse me.
Chairman Cole, distinguished members of the committee, and Madam President. Board Resolution Governing Comptroller's Report of February 2023 on Tennessee State University operations. Item 1, the TSU Board of Trustees is committed to actively engaging in an enhanced oversight of TSU's operational and fiscal practices, including working more closely with TSU management in operational and fiscal areas. That effort is ongoing, as we can witness in this board meeting and previous board meetings. Item 2, the TSU Board of Trustees Executive Committee will examine the board's current committee structure to ensure the appropriate number and focus of its committees and provide recommendations to the full board if warranted. Those committees are established and are being led by distinguished members on the Board of Trustees, as evidenced by what you've seen today in previous board meetings. Item 3, to further strengthen the board's overall effectiveness, the board will continue to work with the Association of Governing Boards of Universities and Colleges, including with its self-assessment process, to enhance the board's operational effectiveness. That practice is ongoing. Item 4, the TSU Board of Trustees hereby directs the TSU administration to provide an annual scholarship plan to the board and commencing on the board's June 2023 meeting, present reports at the board's regular meetings pertaining to the number and values all scholarships offered and the number of signed scholarships, acceptance offers notwithstanding the fact that the scholarship presentation will be made at the March 2023 meeting. The TSU administration shall ensure that it provides a copy of the annual scholarship plan to the Tennessee Higher Education Commission for the academic years 2023, 2024, and 2024-25. That practice is implemented and ongoing. Item 5, the TSU Board of Trustees directs the TSU management to provide housing application and enrollment application data to the board commencing at the board's June 2023 meeting and thereafter at its March, June, and September board meetings, notwithstanding the fact that an enrollment data report will be made at the March 2023 meeting. The TSU management shall also provide a copy of the said housing and enrollment application data to the Tennessee Higher Education Commission for the academic years 2023-24 and 24-25, and to the State Building Commission upon request. That practice is ongoing, and the board today asked for greater fidelity on the enrollment management data, which will be provided in the November board. Item 6, the TSU Board of Trustees directs the TSU management to provide enrollment classification data to the board commencing at the board's June 2023 meeting and thereafter at its March, June, and September board meetings, notwithstanding the fact that an enrollment presentation will be made at the March 2023 meeting. That practice is ongoing, and the same applies to previous item 5 in terms of the fidelity of metrics that have been requested. Item 7, the TSU Board of Trustees is committed to ensuring that the TSU management has sufficient and appropriate personnel to operate TSU in a productive and efficient manner, and to that end, hereby directs President Glover to conduct a review of personnel, including but not limited to organizational structure, performance, and staffing within units, and present a personnel action plan which shall include a plan of action for fulfilling all vacant and interim positions to the board at its June 2023 meeting. That effort is ongoing. Such a plan was presented today, but more fidelity will be presented at the November board. The TSU Board of Trustees further directs President Glover to retain in an expeditious manner a Chief Operating Officer, a Director of Construction Management, a similar title position, and conduct an in-depth review of enrollment management operations. I am here as a Chief Operating Officer. Director of Construction Management has been hired, and enrollment management operations in-depth review continues. Item 9.
Excuse me.
Yes.
General Evans, excuse me before you go any further. Let me just say, one, you presented a very extensive report about what we're going to be doing in terms of evaluating personnel, and that was very much appreciated. But also earlier today, you talked about providing an update on customer service and what all we were going to be doing. And I just want to make aware that those that are listening to us, that they know that was discussed. We gave feedback on it. We will get further updates in the area of customer service at the next meeting. I bring this out because this is a very critical area for us, in that we want the community and those that are the community and those that are here listening in person to know that we are working on customer service. That has been an area that was a challenge for us, but we take it very seriously, and we are working on it. We'll continue to get updates on that.
Yes, Madam Chairman. Item 9, the TSU Board of Trustees directs TSU management to present to the Finance and Budget Committee for its approval a specified financial budget changes that exceed 10%, including scholarships, and directs TSU management to present to the board for its approval a policy consistent with this directive that is in practice. Item 10, the TSU Board of Trustees, in concurrence with the Comptroller's report, shall take all appropriate measures, including having its board's special committee on housing work closely and expeditiously with TSU management to add at least 2 new resident halls to the university's housing inventory. You heard such a plan from Will Rafford today, as well as you heard from Trustee Pennick and Dean Stevenson about the housing plan. Item 11, the TSU Board of Trustees hereby directs the TSU management to provide for at least the next 2 fiscal years a report at each board meeting addressing the university's practices and responsiveness regarding student-related communications, including the areas of enrollment, housing, and financial aid. That effort is ongoing. Item 12, the TSU Board of Trustees, through its respective board committees, shall monitor and review adherence to directives and matters contained in this resolution, and directs TSU management to present a report at its quarterly meeting updating the board on TSU's adherence to directives contained in this resolution, and that practice is ongoing, as evidenced by today. Madam Chairman, that's all I have. Thank you,
General Evans. And I just want to say again, I as chair and the members of the Tennessee State University Board of Trustees, we take the commitment that we made in this written resolution very seriously. And yes, it takes a little time because I asked them to go through each item. But I want to just let you know I will continue to do that because I want those that are tuning in and those that are visiting to know that we take this seriously, we are working on it, and what we are doing. So we will bring you the good, bad, and the indifferent, but you will get a detailed report at every board meeting. Thank you, General Evans. Dr. Glover?
I don't have anything to add, thank you. I don't have anything to add to that. Thank you, General Evans, and thank you.
Thank you.
Can you put my first chart up? Oh, that's all right. So now we'll do, you called me for the president's
Yes,
report?
please.
Thank you. My first couple of charts. All right, so I want to tell you the news continues to be good regarding TSU. Financial position remains strong. Our endowment reached over $100 million again. It was $100 million a few months ago, but then we had some in the stock market had some the investment had took a dive, and so it did as well. The research fund it reached another $100 million record. We just talked about it, so that $100 million number looks good there twice. Then we had a successful SAC-COC reaffirmation. We talked about we were on monitoring for the first year. Then we actually had to clarify some things after that first year in the second report. And once they got the mixed up pages and stuff straight, and we added some more information to it. The committee, SAC-COC board meets twice a year, And they meet in December, then in June, they took us off, so they don't need the monitors anymore. With the second highest enrollment, our first year class, looks like it's gonna be close to 1,800 first year students, the highest 1,700s exactly. And we no longer have a housing crisis. That's very good for us that we went through the housing crisis last year, but this year we do not have a housing crisis.
Could you say that again, please?
We no longer have a housing crisis. Last year we had so many students. We had issues trying to house all the students. And this year we decided to, with the help of, just some urging from the legislators and the Education Committee and the Finance Committee and others, special committee, to just manage our enrollment to match our housing. That's what we're doing now. Our two congregate research classification, we're charted a path to go to R1. Then we're performing some improvements on our campus infrastructure with a $250 million appropriating the state funding for TSU. So we're working with that now. We appreciate that so much. Then we're going to go through an audit update. So let's go to enrollment first. Recruitment and enrollment, another large first year class. Again, we aligned our marketing efforts to match available housing, and we're continuing to work to bring back the students who came last year. We're for our upperclassmen to ensure their continued enrollment at TSU. Again, we're managing our housing concerns. We didn't have an issue this year. We had some questions being raised, some emails being sent to Hero, and to us, some emails, some of our alums, one in particular encouraging people to go to Hero instead of come to us first. But we're managing through that process. So we don't, how some want to be moved from hotels to come to campus, that's expected. We don't have the housing crisis we had last year. So we have a strategic plan also to improve our graduate enrollment. So the student support and recruitment, we've expanded in our student support. We've expanded and reorganizing our student health and our counseling services. We're realigning admissions to recruitment, as we said earlier. We've modified the application process to include some automated web processing, our transcript submission that helped us out a lot last year. We fixed that internally. We moved to a much better program, in our opinion, to help us with admission pros to get through much faster in the communication with students. We enhanced our digital recruitment. So we had a large career fair last year with over 170 companies. This year we have 240 companies coming. And the scholarships were not offered to students until late this year. And that's one of the ways we delayed the number of students we were going to admit by not giving a scholarship as early. For students choose to follow the money. And so we would enhance our global recruiting, which increase our students coming from international locations. Again, housing, I kind of speed through housing, just to say that we have, just you can see the demand continues to exceed supply, but on housing, on-campus housing is 4,370 beds, and we are housing all of our students. Those on the wait list, we've housed those too. Again, no housing crisis for this fall, because we have 2 hotels that were approved by the State Building Commission. Then we had a survey of students who reside in the hotels, indicate that they wanted to get some additional security. It was more, not so much, it was it's the location, they weren't that happy with the location, but we made sure we tried to make them feel safe and put in the security measures with the police cars there. The Nashville police are helping us to monitor and to be there for safety measures. We just revamped our whole housing area so we can better meet the needs of the students, and then African Affairs working with us to make the students understand, to let them know that we're there for them even though they may be in a hotel. Let's go to our financial position. I mentioned earlier that we were in the best financial position ever. It remains strong with the endowment over $100 million. That's over 125% increase in our endowment. This is when I came here. Now we have reserves at $57.7 million. That's a strong number. We have assets over $400 million. And our CFI is 3.85, which is higher than the industry average of 3.0. So again, this is the best financial position we've been in, and our reserve remains strong. So now, to talk about the audit, we did receive a clean opinion for the last year, 2021, unmodified opinion. 2022 audit is currently being performed. It hasn't been released yet. We took substantive measures to correct the prior audit findings. There may be one repeat audit finding. We're not sure. We haven't gotten the final report yet. We're hoping that it is not, but we're not quite sure yet. And then the CPA committee, and then the CPA confirmed that we have corrected the findings, but our state auditors are still looking at it to make sure we've satisfied every aspect of what they're looking for in the audit. So we have enhanced our management team. I mentioned before, we have 5 CPAs, including our vice president, who's not only just a CPA now, he's Dr. He's Dr. Douglas Allen, and with a degree in PhD in advanced accounting. Advanced accounting, not just accounting. So, next one. As a continuing audits, we've started, if you know, the Office of Comptroller conducts a performance audit, and each day report. We just finished going through the 12 items by resolution that this board did to show how seriously they took the report, to make sure we work on each aspect of their report. The June 22 audit mentioned it had not been completed yet. And then now we started last month a forensic audit of TSU, and we're still working through that one. Our reserve funds, just to show, we have new construction projects, major renovations, renewal and replacement funds, and we have investment reserves for a total of $57.677 million. This shows how our endowment has grown to $101 million for our endowment. I just showed from 2014 to 2023, it's grown by $57 million to over $101 million. And so if you look at the growth in endowment, we're just showing how it started out, and now the balance in endowment is at over $100 million. And I want to just mention just about how the faculty, the academic reform of the Senate paid. I thank Academic Affairs, Dr. Melton. I thank Board Member Trustee Johnson and his team, and Academic Affairs, your team, your Assistant Associate Vice Presidents, just for how you work so hard to make this happen with the Faculty Senate. And we award performance to the faculty, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 based on certain factors. And this year we awarded either award or will be awarded to 179 faculty, $367,000 to the faculty. As a side note, I did speak with Dr. Melton about the fact that I do teach a class, and I could be considered faculty also, but I was told I wasn't eligible to get one of these faculty awards. So the next one, let's go to some of the upgrades. The upgrades, you can see some of the things we've done. I won't go through them, but it just shows that we're going through the infrastructure from the funding we've gotten. A lot of buildings are being maintained. We thank finance and business finance and his team, and Dr. Johnson, that team, Will Rafford, just for working through this as they're doing. A few Tiger Points of Pride. You just heard most of them, but just so you can see them again. We exceeded the research funding, the SAC COC. Not only did we get through it for the 10-year review, they commended us for our SMART Center. The technology that we employed. Dr. Melton told us this morning about artificial intelligence, how we've been the #1 HBCU, and she's been doing an outstanding job getting an award just in artificial intelligence along through our SMART Center. Then Levi Watkins Institute, we mentioned earlier, just creates that pipeline for students to become doctors and dentists. And this is the third year of the program. That cohort is going to finish in May of 2024 after the first 3 years, and then go on to med school. And I watched them, took pictures with them. They took the MCAT maybe 2 weeks ago now, and they are. I guess when they get their results, we'll report. I'll look and see how well they did. You can see the HBCU forensic and debate champions. We're still #1 in the forensics. I think he mentioned a partnership with Tennessee Titans that we're pleased that has taken place. We're negotiating bringing back baseball. We're in discussion about playing a major part in the baseball league. and we established an ice hockey club. And then the Apple has their new their technology innovation. Now, those are all points of pride that we brag on. I'm among the other presidents, and we're in different meetings and in different spaces. Some of the things that we're doing, and people are taking notes and asking questions and calling us, asking us how can they participate in some of these initiatives. Grants and research, we've already talked about that, but I just want to just let you see it again, how those numbers have grown, how well they look. And then corporate giving, we can see, I just listed the ones that have given us $1 million or more. You can see, looks like it's 7, have given us in the last few years, 2 or 3 years. And we're still working on those. The corporate giving, also, we can see that. Those are those who give $100,000 or more. And then we have 2 individuals who individually contributed $1 million, Amos and Brenda Otis and Donna Townsend. So we thank, as you know, Chairman Otis was outgoing, the immediate past chair of our foundation board. And we thank him and he and Brenda Otis for that $1 million contribution. And then it's Donna Townsend. So we have some individuals who contributed $100,000 or more. So if you'd like for your name to be up there, Miss Lolita Tony is here, and she'll be happy to oblige. So again, we're trying to go from R2 to R1. We won't make this cycle, but we're one of 11 HBCUs that are classified as R2 now, which is high research activity. And we have about maybe one may make it sooner than the others. We think Howard is probably on target to be the first one to be to regain to be R1 status. And then there are 2 or 3 that are close. I think maybe Morgan, A&T, and TSU is trying to get into that mix also. So the next one. So there's some news. That's the last one. Just talking about some of the we've had in the news over the last 3 months or so. We got Oprah Winfrey coming back, so I can speak a Mr. Speaker, and we're working with her on another project right now. The research funding, the Rich Grant bands, to not just to win the Grammy, which was phenomenal, but to perform at the Grand Ole Opry, CMA's 5th anniversary, and then the Juneteenth celebration at the White House. That's all in our deposit news. And last Friday, I was highly honored to receive the Chairman's Award associated with the Southern Heritage and given the key to the city of Memphis and a proclamation. It was just a high honor being my hometown of Memphis and to receive an award. TSU was recognized for artificial intelligence higher education. The Honda All-Star Challenge team earned a spot on a national competition in the top 8 games. I gave you points of pride earlier. This just teases you the news and not the news stories that have come out. We performed at Carnegie Hall. And then the historic milestones that we were the first HBCU to introduce Collegiate Ice Hockey Club. So that's it, and just some pictures of the band performing at the White House. We thought it was just amazing CMA, just some of the great pictures that accompanied some of the news stories that we had. And I believe that's it, except for one last thing. I did announce retirement on August 14th at the Faculty Staff Institute, and I thank the board members who attended and were well represented. There are several projects to be completed before the end of the spring semester that I'm going to work on. I want you to know that I am working every day up until the day I retire, even though sometimes you can get lax and not want to come here and do it. I'm working every day until I retire, and the expectation of the students, the faculty, and staff will remain the same. The expectation that you will also work every day until I retire. So we're looking forward to that, and I thank everyone for the support and the love that you have shown to me. I thank the board for this awesome opportunity, and I end it with love. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Glover. You are president until you're not president at the end of June 30th, 24. Okay. There are so many things that were mentioned in this report, and I just want to say a couple of things. One, I can understand why the Memphis recognition is so important because rarely are we recognized in our hometown for greatness, and that was awesome. Something that should have been added to the report is that Dr. Glover is a prolific fundraiser. But out of all the things that were mentioned in this report, the thing that's most dear to me is that Tennessee State University is recognized on John A. Mary Boulevard. Tennessee State University is recognized in North, East, West, South Nashville. Tennessee State University is recognized across Tennessee. Tennessee State University is recognized in D.C. Tennessee State University is recognized internationally. That's due to the tremendous leadership of our prolific fundraiser and leader, Dr. Glenda Glover. I want to ask you to stand and give her an ovation. I can't stand because my legs hurt, but if you all please stand. And give her- Thank you so much. We're down to the board's report. I only have to say I thank each and every committee member, committee chair for all the work that you and your members do. I sincerely appreciate the work of the faculty and the staff, the deans, etc. And I won't prolong my report. Thank you, Board of Trustee members, for the time that you dedicate to Tennessee State University. Is there any additional business? If there's no additional business, I will entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So move.
Second?
Second.
Okay, Secretary Pendleton, I am tired. That's second time. Don't take that as an omen, okay? All right, Secretary Pendleton, please call the roll.
Secretary Colt, no, just joking. Chairman Colt,
Secretary Cole votes aye.
Trustee Corbill.
Aye.
Trustee Andre Johnson. Trustee Bilton.
Aye.
Everybody's. Trustee Lewis.
Aye.
Trustee Martin.
Aye.
Trustee McKenzie.
Aye.
Trustee Penny.
Aye.
Trustee Walker.
Aye.
None ayes.
The motion is approved and we are adjourned.